Here from Wits Mining and their Director of Exploration, Andrew Tunks. Andrew.
Thanks, Leo. Good morning. I'm going to talk to you about a very exciting, what was an exploration company, but is now one of Australia's newest gold producers. So we're in production and we're making money, which is a great place to be. We really have two important project localities. We're in South Africa on the world-famous Witwatersrand goldfields, the world's greatest and biggest goldfields, and we're also in the Pilbara in Australia, the home of the world's latest gold rush. I'll mainly be focusing in on our South African projects. We're in profitable gold production right now. I'm going to outline how we're going to grow that gold production over the coming months and years, how we're going to continue to grow our resource, which is already at 3.2 million ounces, and how we're going to become a mid-tier gold producer. And we think all these things are well within our grasp. This is all the factual information about the company. Today's only a very short presentation, so I'm afraid you'll have to look that up for yourself. Suffice to say, we've only been marketing the company for a short while. We feel that we've been able to deliver great news flow, and board and management hold about 10% of the company, so we've got quite a bit of skin in the game. I'd like to focus now on the two main project areas. The one on your left is the Witwatersrand Basin, the world's greatest goldfield. Over 40% of all the gold ever mined across the globe comes from the Wits, the world's biggest gold deposits by an order of magnitude. Okay, so we're looking at 1.4 billion ounces. And then recently in Australia, and based on analogies between the geology in the Pilbara and the geologies of South Africa being similar, people feel that we've found similar style of gold deposits in the Pilbara, and it's generated a great gold rush looking for Wits-style gold deposits. And we're part of that, and I'll address that late in the talk. But really today, it's all about the Witwatersrand Basin and how we got there and what's going on now. So we're in what's called the Central Rand. The Central Rand is where the Wits was discovered in the 1880s at a place called Langlaagte. So that's where the gold was discovered by an Australian prospector in the 1880s, and it became the world's greatest gold field. The Central Rand itself is one of 8 gold deposits across the Witwatersrand Basin, produced around 250 million ounces. Okay, and in fact, the distance between the western end of the Central Rand and the eastern end is about 80 kilometres, and the gold reefs outcrop and are continuously mined the whole way. So you can walk underground from the western end of the Central Rand, underground all the way to the eastern Rand, 80 kilometres of completely linked gold deposits. There's nowhere else in the world that even approaches that. Our project is at the western end. It's the amalgamation of two historic leases. One are called Rand leases and one called DRD. And combined, those two leases have already produced 41 million ounces. So on its own, just those two leases would be a major gold deposit anywhere else in the world. Here it's one small part of an amazing gold deposit. Next door to us, we have Harmony mining at the Doornkop mine, mining exactly the same reefs that we're proposing to mine, and we are mining now. So 41 million ounces produced. And this is where it gets really exciting for me. So 41 million ounces produced, and in the year 2000, when mining stopped here, and it stopped on a day, and it stopped because the gold price was low, issues in South Africa around the end of apartheid and political issues. So mining stopped in a day. At that time, this licence had just under 13 million ounces of gold in resource. So that was an ASX JORC compliant resource. And those of you who were here before will have heard some of the chaps talking about the transparency that comes from being an ASX listed JORC resource. So this is a completely open resource. We have spent the last few years going back through that data. So we don't explore here, but we go back through that data and rehabilitate that resource. When I first got involved in this project, I was concerned about, wow, this lease has already produced 41 million ounces. How can there be any gold left? You know, surely it's been mined down to 5-6 kilometres. But that's not the case. The history of mining here means that there's quite a lot of gold left near surface. And in fact, for the first few years, we concentrated solely on the top 400 metres. And we got to around 2 million ounces in the top 400 metres. And recently, in some places, we've increased the depth of where we're considering old resources down to about 1,500 metres. That's enabled us to get to a resource base, as we speak at the moment, of just under 3.3 million ounces at 3 grams. As I say, we don't explore for that. We simply rehabilitate old data and bring it into the current JORC 2012 scheme. 75% of that 3 million ounces is in measured and indicated, the highest quality of the resources. As someone who's been involved in gold exploration and mining all my life, I would tell you that there is no geological risk here. This is an extremely big and robust ore body that's extremely well known and very well understood. And these are very real numbers. And they will continue to grow as we rehabilitate that resource over the next little while. We're currently producing gold. And again, this was an amazing thing to me. You think after 40 million ounces have been produced, there's no gold near the surface. But we're producing gold from open pits. They're shallow open pits. But effectively what we're doing is taking out the old crown pillars from the underground mines. So beneath us, a lot of stuff is mined out, but the crown pillars are still available. And of our 3.2 million ounces, there's several 100,000 ounces in open pit opportunities, and I'll describe that. So we've been mining there since, we've been cash flow positive since November last year, and this is a summary. We're producing around 10 to 15,000 tonnes per month and producing around 1,000 ounces per month on average at a cash cost of just below $700. And that generates net to us of around 300,000 Aussie per month. So this is a company that doesn't need to raise money at the moment and is very much cash flow positive. Looking across the lease, we feel that there are ample opportunities to not only mine surface, but to get back underground, and that's because there are 38 old historic shafts across the licence. And it's much easier to rehabilitate an old shaft than it is to sink a new shaft. So we're saving potentially hundreds of millions of dollars of capital cost when we go forward. We're mining at the moment in the Kimberley Central area. So that's this central area, that's open pit mining. We've just put in applications for 2 more areas for open pit mining. And in the meantime, we're applying to convert the entire licence area into a mining lease. We anticipate that will be done next year. In fact, this is my timeline, and you'll see. So we've started mining in Kimberley. We've started the work on the mining permit application. That's the background environmental work. We've submitted the application for 2 small-scale mining areas, which will enable us to double our production from 1,000 a month to 2,000 ounces per month. And we've half done this. In fact, we're just about to submit the mining application to cover all our ground. I can see I'm running out of time, so I have to keep going. This is the surface map of the ground itself. These are reefs, and they are very continuous. And I'm just going to outline what our plans are for development. So we're currently mining from an open pit along the Kimberley Central, and that's that brown area there. But we've got 2.2 kilometres of strike of the super high-grade main and south reefs to exploit when we get the full-scale mining licence. We've got over 6 kilometres of the Bird Reef. The Bird Reef, one of the famous reefs, quite uranium-rich in parts, hardly been mined on this ground at all, which is amazing when the licence has already produced 40 million ounces, but really unmined on the DRD section of our licence. And then we've got about 4 strike kilometres of Kimberley. So all in all, 12 strike kilometres of open pit opportunities. I suppose 5 years ago when I first got involved in this project that I thought we'd be mining at 3 kilometres depth, and I was quite shocked to find and gratified to find that there's so much open pit material available here. And our mining costs will continue to be low, around that $700 to $800 an ounce produced. We don't mill any of this ourselves. There's amazing milling capacity available on the Rand, so we toll treat everything and we have very low cost operation. 1 minute to go. We're looking at 2 fantastic areas, the Kimberley underground and a small remnant area of the main and south reef, the very high-grade reefs. Again, we're talking about millions of ounces. So this is where we would plan to go back underground when the opportunity arises. We would anticipate that we can fund the majority of that through our current cash flow, particularly as the underground ramps up. There's so much more I could tell you about our Pilbara assets. Obviously, there's been a great gold rush in the Pilbara. We believe that the Pilbara and the Capvale Craton, which is the home of the Wits, were amalgamated 3 billion years ago, but that's another story. Suffice to say that we're active on the Pilbara at the moment. We have exploration teams out in the field exploring and finding gold. There'll be some ASX releases on that in the very near future. But we believe this is a great company, and I'd encourage you all to go out and take some stock. Thank you very much.